You found yourself on another edition of Locked On Bulls. On today's episode, we got to talk about the second round Chicago Bulls draft Lachlan Olbrich, solid player out of Australia, maybe. Got to talk about some of those second round failures and also give our draft grades. All that and more in today's episode of Locked On Bulls. Let's go.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Locked On Bulls from the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am Pat the Designer. Haize, I believe, should be here shortly. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms, conditions do apply. Again, download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about Lachlan Olbrich. He's a very interesting player. After the Chicago Bulls drafted him, we were in the studio last night, so I got a big opportunity to really go into the deep dive and found out I had been watching this kid already, but he kind of was just one of the background prospects, even had notes ready for him and everything. So here's my breakdown on what the Chicago Bulls got in the second round last night. To me, when I look at his game, I think he has elite footwork and some really good touch around the hands. He finished efficiently around the rim, a 69% field goal percentage at the rim. And I think when you talk about him in the post, he showed some really good body control. And so I think for the fact when you're talking about going out and adding a piece to this team, 6'10" center, really good framework. I believe he's about 230 pounds. At least that's what I had him listed as here. I think that that's something where when you look into the second round and you take into the account the fact that the Chicago Bulls decided to trade back into that second round, that is a solid pickup there. What I really liked about him was high IQ player, had a really good feel for the game, especially when facilitating the basketball. I thought that was something that shined in his game. Played against Canada a lot, did not win very much, but in those games, you saw him be kind of the focal point. He would finish out games with 30 points. I think he finished one game with 33 and 7. There was another one where he ended up having 28 and 6. So this is a guy that can score the basketball, especially around the rim. He brings some really good rebounding, and he's got a motor that just does not stop. He's one of those guys who, what's the weird statement that they always say, right? He's got a nose for the ball. He just finds the basketball wherever he's at. And so to me, I do think that adds into this. I guess if you want to count in, the wins that he did have. Is Haize joining us here? What's going on, my boy?
What you in here lying about?
Huh?
What you in here lying
nothing.
About?
Giving that Lachlan Olbrich breakdown, bro. That Lachlan Olbrich breakdown, brother. You hear me?
Yeah. I like the kid. I don't know if he'll ever play an NBA game, but I do like the talent that I saw there. His basketball IQ, the physical nature in which he plays with, his passing is really good, especially in transition. I think much better. Like, I don't know, like, I get it that when you look at his tape, you see a really good basketball player, but I know what the Bulls do with second round picks, and I just feel like he's going to be the guy that we're like, hey, check his G League stats. Hey, he's down there killing it. Why isn't he playing in the NBA? Billy Donovan forgot he existed, like Adama Sanogo for 2 or 3 years. So
listen, I'll tell you this. If you want to say anything, right, I think he's giving you that same skill set that we talked about with the Adama Sanogo, maybe a little bit less on the rebounding side, maybe a little bit more on the scoring side, but knows his game, knows his body, knows how to play the game. And if he's down there in the G League and whenever he does come over, remember, this could be a stash move as well. We don't even know if he's coming over right away, but if he's down
in college here, so I would imagine he's probably ready to come over if he wants to.
I think he's ready. Yeah, I mean, he's been playing pro ball too. So to me, like, I think it's a good piece. It's a good pickup for the second round, especially, the conversation we're going to have on the fact that Chicago Bulls basically were like, hey, them picks? We don't need them picks. We looking for cash considerations, baby.
Yet again, bro. Like, it's like there's a whole Bulls podcast called Cash Considerations.
Is there really?
Yeah, bro, you never cash considerations there. Ricky O'Donnell was on it. Like, it's literally from the Bulls trading. Who was it? It was the guy that we traded to the Warriors for cash considerations when we went into the rebuild. Bell, was that his name?
What was his first name? My brain is more Raja. I know that's not right. It was
Jeremy
Bell.
Something like that. But yeah, it's a podcast called Cash Considerations just because of that move. So yeah, I mean, listen, Lachlan Olbrich looks like a really good, like the typical what you expect from a second round pick. He looks like he brings a lot of that with some upside. Whether he comes over now and plays, well, he already did sign a 2-way contract, so no, he's coming over.
Oh, he's coming over then. If he signed it, he's coming over.
So he's coming over. He's going to primarily be in the G League. He can play up to 55 games on that 2-way contract at the NBA level. But I think when it comes down is that the Bulls got them a solid, typical second round pick. But when you go back and look at, even if you were going to go draft and stash, had you just stayed where you were, Rocco Zikarsky was right there. Now, that's a guy that has a lot of upside as a draft and stash player. But then the Lakers took our second round pick, which we'll talk a little bit about that. But they took our second round pick, and then they traded up to get a player. It's just, it continues to be the failure. But the focus here on Lachlan Olbrich, I like what he brings. I like looking at his tape. I like the how he plays as a basketball player. I just, we keep drafting 6'10" forwards, which is fine, but I don't know if I see him ever playing a game at the NBA level. Not because he isn't skilled, but just because you go in the 2-way contract or in the G League for the Bulls, they completely forget about you unless there's injuries.
And I think that's the thing, right? Like when you talk about the player that you get versus what the Chicago Bulls are going to do with them, you do have to have two very, very different conversations. I think Lachlan Olbrich has a ton of talent. I think that there is something there that could work at the NBA level. You got somebody who's very physical, and that's something that the Bulls want to be, which is why they went out and you acquire Zach Collins last year. He said, we really thought he added. Billy Donovan said we really thought he added to our physicality. I don't know if you saw him at the Combine, Haize. I got a chance to watch that a little bit yesterday, and I forgot, like, he was the big that was down there doing a big chunk of the scoring in some of those scrimmages. Like, he's got a ton of game. I think when you talk about a fit in the NBA, he's an ideal pick and roll player for you, and that is perfect with Josh Giddey, who I don't know if they've had any crossover at all playing on national teams or whatever. But to me, this is a young man that if you want to utilize him, you can. It comes down to what the Chicago Bulls want to do.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what it comes down to. Like you said, it's what the Bulls want to do, how they want to invest, and how they want to play things. But they keep adding, like, solid talent. Like, I would say this, the Bulls, when it's come to, like, second round picks, when it's come to undrafted free agents, over the last, basically since AK, they've done pretty good in those places. You've had Adama come in here. You had Justin Lewis come in here, who unfortunately he had the ACL injury that then ended up derailing that a little bit. You got Ayo Dosunmu as a second round pick. You got Julian Phillips as a second round pick. Like, you've gotten some good things there. It's just the Bulls don't develop it, or once they're in the G League, they just kind of stay there and wither away. Like, Adama Sanogo showed about halfway through his rookie year in the G League, he was better than that level of competition. Yeah. I'm not ready to say that he would have dominated anything at the NBA level, but at some point, you got to give somebody a chance. We had times where we had no big man healthy, and Billy Donovan didn't even want to give him a chance. So that's the thing that I worry about. I have no problems with Lachlan Olbrich as the pick. My question comes in at is like, okay, he's probably going to go down there. He's probably going to look damn good at G League level competition. Is Billy Donovan going to recognize it though? That's the question that I have there.
Well, and is he going to want to utilize it? You know what I mean? Like, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, we saw Adama Sanogo come up here and he had a 20 and 20 game, right? Wasn't it something like that? A 10 and 20 rebound game? I know he had a 20 rebound game. Yeah. Was that his rookie year or his second year?
I think it was at the end of his rookie year. I think it was like the last couple of games
versus the Wizards. Yeah. He had a 22 and 20 game. I want to say this man was like extremely efficient in that game. Like, yeah, like you saw the talent there, but you have to want to, the two things that I think a lot of coaches get in trouble with is there has to be a want to see that young man succeed. And on top of that, how does he fit into my scheme? Adama Sanogo fits into nothing that Billy Donovan wanted to run. Right? Billy wants that trailing big. He wants that guy to go. Zach Collins was chucking up threes for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind he has to be able to fit into the system. There was no way Adama fit into Billy's system, but like you said, we got no big man. Like, throw him in there to rebound at least.
Well, I mean, I gotta disagree. Like now, I don't think Adama, but his rookie year, like, keep in mind, we had Andre Drummond as a backup big man. Like I think he could have come in there, and especially when those games that Drum missed, and like you said, at least for rebounding, like he could have got some putbacks, but Lachlan is a player that has a more modern offensive game, not necessarily defensive at all, even though he is active. Even though he is active defensively. So I guess we'll see. Like I said, I like the pick for what it is. I just have my doubts around if Billy Donovan is going to care. I guess that's what it comes down to.
So, yeah, we'll see.
We shall see. But with that said, we're going to continue to talk about the second round failure. I know I already touched a little bit on that and how the Chicago Bulls manage or mismanage the second round. But first, we got to get into a message from Skims. When I found out Skims was making underwear for men, I was intrigued. I've heard so much about their quality from friends and family, so I had to give it a try. Let me tell you, it lives up to the hype. I've always had issues with underwear between fit, comfort, and just finding the right style. Skims changed all that. Their men lines offer something for everyone from boxer briefs to classic briefs, all designed in the perfect balance in comfort and style. I tried Skims boxer brief, and I'm hooked. They're perfect for my active lifestyle. They move with me, never lose their shape, and stay in place all day. Whether I'm working out or just running errands, they're the most comfortable and reliable underwear I've ever owned. Plus, the lightweight material feels amazing, almost like you're wearing nothing at all. Stop it, man. Shop Skims at skims.com. Let them know we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select our show in the drop-down menu that follows. More Locked On Bulls coming up next. I heard they were coming out with the "Always Sit It" line for people like Shay that that need a little bit of extra.
That's the one you want to go fresh out the read.
The "Always Sit It" line. Shout out to the people.
Yeah. To pull up over the chair. Never mind. That was wild.
It was crazy. But Pat, the whole saga of the second round draft pick for the Chicago Bulls.
X comment is hilarious because that's literally what they was talking about in the league. We wanted the meat off.
Meat off is crazy. So the second round blunder for the Bulls. So let's just walk through the saga. So the Bulls earlier in the day, they traded down from 45 to 55 with the Los Angeles Lakers. That already for cash considerations, they traded down. It is what it is. The Lakers then turn around and use the Bulls' 45th pick and more cash to trade up to the 36th pick, in which they got Adu Thero. Ryan Kalkbrenner was right there above the pick. So this kind of paints a picture that if the Bulls wanted to be aggressive and move up, Minnesota had said they were shopping the first pick in the second round, basically since the first round ended. The Bulls could have been a little bit more aggressive to go out there and get a center prospect in here that had a little bit more upside. They didn't do that. And so the Lakers used cash in the Bulls pick to get a pretty solid second round pick. But then things that take it even further than that, Pat. At number 45, Rocco Zikarsky is just there. Had the Bulls not even done anything, they would have had a nice young prospect that many people are saying has starting level potential in the NBA. He's just really raw. Some people even question why he went into the draft right now, where he could have waited 1 or 2 years and came in and maybe been a lottery pick. But he's going to stay over in Australia. The Bulls said they wanted a draft and stash option. They could have did that with a young 7'3" with an almost 10-foot standing reach player in Rocco Zikarsky right there. Pat, how do you feel about how the whole second round thing played out for the Bulls?
Listen, it's the Bulls being the Bulls. It's cash consideration time. You got a player with upside. You know what I mean? Like that's how I feel about the second round. You grabbed a 6'10" big, who has, I believe he's won an MVP in the whichever league he's playing in for some reason. The NBL, I think it is.
He's playing the NBL.
He's won an MVP.
He's won an MVP. I didn't know he won an MVP.
I believe. Let me check my notes again. I believe I got that written down. For his profile, I'm not even going to act like I remember. I did do a breakdown on him, but I ain't even going to act like I remember breaking him down. I went to look up. I was like, let's see what this kid looked like. And there was just a bunch of videos.
You don't remember breaking him down?
You know what? That's on me. That's on me. That was crazy. But no, I think
he earned MVP honors in a specific tournament, not like the whole league. So I see what you're saying.
Okay, so yeah, he won NBL 1 Central and a NBL title. I don't know what I mean. Not really tapped into the NBL like that all the time, and also won multiple MVP awards in certain tournaments and stuff like that. But to me, like I think here's the big thing: the second round, yes, there's talent there. We know that because we have Bio DeSumo on our team. More times than not, I think you've hit the nail on the head a bunch of times here, Haize. We could have went out and got Rasheer Fleming. Rasheer Fleming would have dominated the G League for 2 years, and then we would have let him go. We could have went out and got what's old boy that's in Charlotte? You just said his name, Kalkbrenner.
Ryan Kalkbrenner.
Kalkbrenner. Like, he would have had a heck of a run in the G League, and then we would have let him go. The second round blunder to me can be a very good success story. It all depends on the Chicago Bulls. And that to me, like, yes, there are other pieces out there.
Masai Ujiri just got fired.
Oh, that happened before we got on. You didn't see that?
Oh, well, you remember I was late. I was getting
that's
computer.
True. That's true. Yeah. No, yeah. I don't even know if it was a firing. How Shams tweeted it out, it sounded very disrespectful. It was like Masai Ujiri's done in Toronto. I was like, God, dog, what
Jesus,
happened?
bro, that's crazy.
Did he get caught? Never mind. But yeah, it's because they didn't do nothing in the second round.
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
Oh, you got to watch these executives now.
That's crazy, bro. I don't even know what we were talking about anymore. At this point, you completely ruined my mindset.
Just how the second round is how successful this is. I believe is all up to the Bulls. You came away with a good player.
Yeah, you did come away with a good player, but I think you could have came away with a player. You came away with a good prospect, is what I'll say.
A good prospect.
I think you could have came away with a player that had the upside to do more. But like I said, no knock on it. I want to be clear. My knock is not on any of the players. I think Noah's really good pick. I like what I've seen from Lachlan Olbrich. So we'll just see what ends up happening. But by the way, Pat, I had to bring this up, especially since we already went a little left. Did you see what the Cooper Flag fans have decided to call themselves?
Oh no.
Don't say it, because
I don't know if you can throw that on the screen, bro.
No, we can throw it on the screen because it's clear on what it's saying. But you can never say that on YouTube because YouTube will flag it immediately.
I think they gonna flag that, bro.
They're not gonna flag it, bro. It's not nothing. Yeah, that's crazy.
Hey, bro. Hey, if YouTube don't flag it, Nick, don't watch the video.
What they gonna say? What they gonna say?
That was nuts.
That was crazy, bro.
And you all know what's nuts? I 110% didn't know. And then I fully knew once I thought about what his name was. And I was like, nah, they not calling themselves that.
Yeah, bro. It's that thing where you hope that that's not what they're going to do. And then you realize, yeah, they're doing it.
Yeah, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. Hey, man. Shout out to cash considerations in the second round,
bro. That is.
I didn't know what to do with that from here, bro.
Hey, bro. I listen. First of all, and you may have to handle your own thing. My mouse is acting up for some reason.
But no, man. Listen, the bottom line right now, and if you want to talk about a failure, we don't know what the second round is going to be. Right? Rasheer Fleming may be a guy who fully pans out and is very good at the NBA level. Kalkbrenner may be a guy that dominates down in Charlotte. And I actually think he will get NBA time on the court because of the Mark Williams trade. If you come out of this and both of those guys are better, maybe you feel a little bit worse about it. Where I'm at right now, the second round is still just the second round for me. Solid pick. Do something with it. That's what it comes down to for me.
Yeah, we shall see. I mean, it's a second round pick. So I'm not gonna get up in arms about a second round pick. No, I don't think you can miss on second round picks. I think that you can overlook certain players, but I mean, second round picks are second round picks. 99% of them don't work out for a reason.
The only time you can miss on a second round pick, I think, is if it's somebody who like turns into a dominant piece in the NBA, or turn like the league missed out on, I would assume.
Yeah. And the league missed out on Draymond Green, like that type of thing. Right?
The league missed out on Draymond Green.
Yeah, and I think, for example, like having the number one pick in the second round in this draft, you could have looked at it as a miss if you passed on Rasheer Fleming for some crazy project, right? Like, but generally, you don't miss on second round picks. It kind of just is what it is.
Yeah. We'll see. Listen, I mean, he's got more upside right now than Patrick Williams in my mind. So let's let's see if it all works out. And, he's making less than Lonzo Ball is.
And he's only like 18 months younger than Patrick Williams, too. So there you go now.
He's only 20, bro.
He's 21.
No, I'm just saying. That's how they always talk about P. Will. Like, you got to give him time, bro.
He's only 20. He's only 22.
20.
It's like, all right, at this point, like, it don't matter.
He was the youngest player in the draft. He's no longer there. That doesn't happen anymore.
Exactly.
Hey, man, we're going to keep this thing moving along. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, showing love. We got to talk about the Bulls draft overall and what our thoughts are on how the Bulls fared in the draft with the 2 selections that they made and what we think they're going to do. But first, we got to get into a conversation from Game Time. Oh, I almost effed it up. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you to a game. Game Time makes it all possible. What is interesting about this is they can't be talking about ticket prices in Chicago because it don't matter how much you save on them tickets. You can't splurge on food up here. But Game Time makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop closer. The closer you get to first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and the lowest prices guaranteed. That takes the worry out. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms and conditions do apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. More Locked On Bulls coming up next.
All right, Pat, before we get up out of here, I guess we got to do it. Let's give a grade for the draft overall. How do you feel the Bulls did in the 2025 NBA draft?
This is going to be weird for some people because of, all the Cedric Howard. We missed out on Cedric Howard. You could have done that, blah, blah, blah. I give him an A. And the reason I give him an A is you got a player with a tremendous amount of upside. Mm-hmm. You got a solid centerpiece in the second round. Whether he is, turns into somebody who's actually playing or just a rotational piece, or he actually turns into a player that you can rely on. Now it's up to you. The goal of the draft is to find guys with a ton of talent. The goal of the draft is to find guys that fit what you do. You did that. Congratulations. Your draft assessment was correct. Noah Essengay, I think, is going to be or can be a fine player in this NBA, and I think you could develop him, and if you're good at it, you could develop him into a really good player in this NBA. I've said he's got the highest ceiling in this draft. He's got the lowest floor. That now depends on what the Chicago Bulls do. That now depends on how good the Chicago Bulls are going out there and developing these pieces, building this player up, fitting him into what they want him to do, and seeing him be able to be successful at it. Like, in what the goal of the draft is, the Bulls did fine. The problem with the picks isn't the picks. The problem with the picks is, what are the Bulls going to do with those picks? And that's what always scares me with this team.
Yeah, you talked a little bit about that, is that it does come down to, like, the picks that the Bulls made were completely fine. And if it was a front office that people have more trust in, I think that a lot of people would view this completely differently. If it did, like, if the Spurs picked Noah Essengay, most people would look at it like, hey, they potentially got a steal of the draft. The Bulls draft him with the history of non-development. It's like, oh my God, we did it. We got another raw player. And it just goes to show, like, the history of your front office and what they've done or not done plays a part in how this is viewed. But one thing that I've gone through, and I've looked at every single major outlet, not to say that it's the end all be all. I've looked at every single draft website, major outlets. Everybody is favorable in what the Bulls have done. Really, the only people that I've heard say anything negative about what the Bulls have done are Bulls fans. And part of that is because of the PTSD that AK, rightfully so, has put on this team with what he's done and the lack of development. But like I said over on Central, this is a very different state that this team is in. Dan Craig is here. Dan Craig develop Bam Adebayo. Bam Adebayo talks glowingly about Dan Craig and how he helped him acclimate to the NBA and understand how he can use his defense while being undersized in the NBA. I'm not saying that Noah Essengay is Bam or they're even the same type of player, but I do think if you look at the defensive profile that Noah Essengay is starting with, give that to Dan Craig. Wes Unseld as well developed Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, Michael Porter Jr., and other players that have come through that Denver system as well. I get it. You should have no trust in Billy Donovan to develop players, but when you look at Dan Craig and Wes Unseld, they have something. Our player development department. 9 teams in the NBA have a player development department at all. I know we lost Peter Patton, but only 9 teams have a department focused on player development. Yeah. And the Bulls have that still. And you know what, that team, the same team that gathered the analytics, that went out and watched the videos that compiled that, you think Peter Patton was doing that by himself? No, it was a team of people. All those people are still here. And yes, it sucks not to have Peter Patton, a great shooting coach here who can work with Noah Essengay, but we still have those people who are going to do the analytics on getting that then to our coaches to have the players work on specific things. I'm going to give some trust mainly because the pieces are different. If this was still Chris Fleming, Mo Cheeks, and Billy Donovan, I would not be as positive on it. But we did bring in 2 assistant coaches who have been heads of player development themselves. So I'm going to give a little bit of credence to that. Now they got to still show and prove it. And this can't be where we're talking about 3 years and we're still asking, is Noah an NBA player? That cannot be this. I get it. His season's going to start off slow, but in looking at his tape, there's a lot to like there. We just talked about Lachlan. There's a lot to like there as well. So I give the Bulls a solid B+ in this one. I think they did a really good job, but it's a tentative B+ because it can go down a couple of grades. It can go up to an A+ if Noah hits and he develops over the next couple of years. I have no doubt that we can look back on this and say we got one of the better players in this draft. But like you said, Pat, it comes down to how you develop these players and what your plan is for them. And the Bulls got to show something.
And I think, going through all of our evaluation, I don't know how you feel about it, but I said it on the pod. What I have in my notes on Noah Essengay is highest ceiling in the draft, lowest floor. I don't think there's a player that went after him with a higher ceiling than him. Now, there are players who come in maybe more solid, higher floor, and you can utilize them right away. A Thomas Sorber ends up going to OKC. That may be something that stings a little bit.
Their big rotation is
the rich get richer,
nasty.
The rich get richer, bro.
You got Isaiah Hartenstein, Chet, and Thomas Sorber that you're going to rotate there at the big.
Yeah. The rich get richer. Yang Hansen is a complete project.
Yeah.
Complete project.
Even way more than Noah Essengay.
Yeah, I think when you look at a lot of the people that went after, and that's how I judge it. Did somebody go that was better? When we looked at the P. Will draft, even at the day of the draft, I was like, you left a lot of good talent that's out there on the board to go get P. Will. Like, this dude better pan out, and he didn't. And guess what? Tyrese Maxey better, Devin Vassell better, Tyrese Halliburton better. Like, all of those things. Those all play into it. When Dalen Terry got drafted, me and you knew he wasn't better than Walker Kessler.
Yeah.
We knew it. We had talked about, we like, you got to take this dude. This is exactly what you need on your team. And those are the misses that you don't recover from. For me, again, it comes down to the development, how they utilize them. But I don't think there's a player that went behind him. Derek Queen, he'll be a fine scorer at the NBA. Is Atlanta going to get, or is New Orleans going to give him all of the freedom to just chuck shots up in the air? Because if they do, then yeah. But I don't know how him and Zion Williamson are going to really operate together. We'll see how that ends up working. As you go through the rest of the draft, I don't feel like the Bulls missed on anybody who end up going after. I know some people really liked Asa Newell. I had people screaming for KJ in the chat. It was crazy. Like, I'm glad he went to Miami. They probably develop him. But I feel good about what the Bulls did in the first round of this draft. Second round is just the Bulls being the Bulls. Like, there's some stuff you just got to chalk up to the game.
Yeah, exactly. The Bulls in the second round just took a normal second round where they could have got creative in the second round. It is what it is there, but they got a solid player. We'll see what happens there. Yeah. Any last thoughts, Pat, before we end the week?
Rasheer Fleming to Phoenix, kind of crazy, bro.
Bro,
I hope he pan out, bro. Phoenix fixed their team at a really solid
they still
way.
Have no point guard. It's all shooting guards and centers. That's it. That's all they got now is shooting guards and centers. No point guards. They do got Dylan Brooks, I guess, there as a forward, but it's all shooting guards and centers. That's all they got there. So we'll see. But I mean, they have a nice rotation. Like I could see Rasheer Fleming and Kaman Malawak turning into a front court together. I could see them developing together as a front court eventually. We'll see.
How the heck does Mark Williams fit in over there? There's so many questions.
Right now, Mark Williams is a starter because Kaman's, but keep in mind, Mark Williams only has 2 years left on his contract. I'm telling you this, Pat, he's probably going to be traded again next year in the offseason because if Kaman shows that he's ready to start in the second year, Mark Williams is going to be on the move.
Maybe I'm tripping, and I also, when I watch Charlotte games, they always getting blown out, so it's not like he's having this massive impact. Mark Williams can play. He ain't healthy, but he can play.
He can play, yeah.
Like, must be treating Mark Williams like he's garbage.
But I do the show with Doug Branson from Locked On Hornets, and he said that what internally is that Mark Williams cares more about getting 15 and 10 than he does about making the right play sometimes, and that's why they wanted him out of there. So
I can see that.
Yeah,
I don't know what the right play is with no LaMelo on the floor, or anyone else, but I can see that. I can see that being a problem. Hey, man, appreciate y'all for tuning in, showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Appreciate y'all for showing love, man.
Absolutely, man. I want to thank y'all for tuning in throughout the weekend, everything that we've been doing and covering. You guys can follow me at CEO Haize. Locked On Bulls is free and available on every podcasting app and platform, as well as YouTube, the Odyssey app, Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, Fubo TV, and more. Basically, anywhere you want us, you can get it. We'll see you guys bright and early Monday morning. Peace, y'all.
Peace.